evolution into this higher life form. But let me take you on a journey. This is a slideshow. And here we have the beginning. When I was 10 ish, there was a special day. People like to call it Christmas. And on Christmas, what they do is they give presents. And what my mother did was she got me an Xbox. Yay! And so with this Xbox, I would play games such as Call of Duty, NBA 2K, Madden, Rocket League, Fortnite specifically, and Sea of Thieves, right? All these games I would usually play with my friends and shit, and it were just games you could just do basically the same thing over and over and over again, right? And so I was happy, right? I got the new 2K, or I got the new Madden, or the new Fortnite update came out, and that was good, right? That was good for me, and that's all I needed. That's what brought me happiness. And then I had my Xbox for about 3 years, and then I got this game called Hollow Knight. Now, come here. Hollow Knight is a game where you play as a... Damn, how would you... Anyways, Hollow Knight is a game, right? Single player, not usually my forte at this point. And when you play Hollow Knight, right, it's just you and the game. And Hollow Knight's a beautiful game. Great gameplay, the music, the visuals, everything to the enemies, the story, the characters. Hollow Knight was this beautifully crafted game, right? And it was sort of like, looking back at it, this was sort of like dipping your foot into the water to see how cold it is. And that's what Hollow Knight, I spelled hollow wrong, I think. That's what Hollow Knight was, right? It was that taste, when you just taste a little bit of the sauce, right? You get a little bit of it on your fry, eat the fry, and you're like, I could go for more of that. And then you dip a bit more. Anyways, that's what Hollow Knight was, right? And then came what I'm calling here the Great Switch. The Great Switch, come here. I had my Xbox from the time when I was 10 to the time when I was 415, somewhere around there, right? And Xbox Series S and X had just dropped, and so did the PS5, right? And I'm talking with my dad, and I'm like, I think, like, if I had to pick, I think I'd choose the PlayStation instead of the Xbox again, because there's a lot of games on there that I've really been wanting to play, right? And so I ended up getting a PS5. I got the PS5 God of War Ragnarok edition, meaning it had the white, and then it had, on one part was a PS5, and then sort of faded in on the left was the game cover, and it came with the game in it. And or did I get the Spider-Man edition? I don't know. Anyways, it actually didn't come with the game with it. It came with a code on it, so the game was already there, right? Anyways, that's not important. This was the Great Switch to PlayStation. This then unlocked, I played God of War and Spider-Man Miles Morales. These 3 games, along with Hollow Knight, were sort of like the building blocks. The bottom row of cups in cup stacking? That's what they were. They were the bottom row of cups in cup stacking for how I view gaming today. And these games, I mean, God of War Ragnarok, and not the first one, I skipped the first one and I played it later, but God of War Ragnarok was, truly, I spent hours on that game going through everything. It's like when you lose a $20 bill and you know it's somewhere in the living room, so you scrape the whole living room for this $20 bill. That's what it was like with God of War Ragnarok. I can't tell you the amount of nights I spent on God of War Ragnarok doing some bullshit ass side quest in which I was never gonna use what it gave me. But you know what? Come here. I loved every second of that side quest because that's how good the game was. And God of War introduced me to something a bit. The Hollow Knight sort of touched on it, but God of War really hammered in the idea that like struggling can be fun. You know what I'm saying? Cause it was my first God of War game. I put on Give Me God of War difficulty, and some of those fights, not even the bosses, just some of them 3-4 fights in a random area, they was beating my ass. If and so basically, God of War made me want to play Spider-Man, because if God of War's this good, I already know about Spider-Man, it's probably good as well. So I played the first Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was less hard, right? But Spider-Man was a trip. Spider-Man, story-wise, is potentially, like, it's up there with one of the greatest things I've ever touched, me personally. And then Miles Morales, and then I played Miles Morales, which was shorter, but Miles Morales' story, I haven't played Spider-Man in a minute, but Miles Morales' story was low-key kind of better. I remember, let me tell you a story, come here. I remember it was summer, and I would go out on our balcony, right, bring my TV out there, and bring my PlayStation out there, and set it up to the little bench we had, and I had an extension cord that came outside, and I would play Spider-Man outside on a soft, sort of beanbaggy thing, right? No, it was a chair. There was a chair, and it was kind of bouncy, I remember, because I would always tell my nieces and nephews to not bounce on it, because it was dangerous. And so it was on this chair, and it was hot outside, and Spider-Man was on the Roku TV that was outside, and I would play it all the way through the night, and it was a wonderful experience. And this really opened up the doors, you know? And so those cracked the door open, right? Elden Ring blew the establishment up. The whole establishment was gone. Listen, Elden Ring, come here, let me talk to you. Elden Ring I touched Elden Ring. After I touched Hollow Knight, I touched Elden Ring for a little bit. I tickled it. I jiggled its balls. And it was too difficult. And so I stopped playing it, right? But I got my PS5, and I was like, might as well try it again. So I tried it, and I finished it on my Xbox for the first time, right? And then I wanted to play it on my PS5. So I got it on my PlayStation. And I like Elden Ring. The way Elden Ring is like a drug, like it's like, if you do weed, let's say everything before this was weed, and then Elden Ring was like fentanyl, right? And so you keep, right? You just keep trying to get that original high, but you're never gonna get it, right? Like, I wish I could replay Elden Ring again for the first time. On, like, wholeheartedly, I'd pay a lot of money I don't have to replay Elden Ring for the first time. And that's sort of how Elden Ring was. It was this beautifully crafted game with this difficulty and this just like addictiveness, right? And so if Elden Ring is fentanyl, everything after Elden Ring was me trying to find that, you know, the other shit, heroin, crack cocaine, right? The other hard drugs that just aren't up there, right? And so that's what, you know, I played Dark Souls, I played Sekiro, Celeste, Another Crab's Treasure, Ghost of Tsushima's. These are like, I went on like a run. I played Dark Souls, I played Dark Souls 3, I played Bloodborne, I played Sekiro, and then I was sort of going on other shit. I played Hollow Knight again, and then I played Ghost of Tsushima, and then Another Crab's Treasure, and I played a Final Fantasy for the first time in my life, and you know, all this shit was just shaping, and I realized, like, I hadn't played a multiplayer game in months. And this is where I realized, like, I'm changing. Not only have I grown up and I've become more matured and more of a teenager, I'm touching the things I used to love less. And this change, instead of shifting and going back, I stayed comfy, and I let it shape me. And the shaping, right, turned me. It turned me like a mutation, or like a evolution, into this higher life form that can just sort of play these games and pick them up and then enjoy them with my full ability, right? And the games, they just sort of got better. The more I played, the more I liked them. And it was like I was always searching for that Elden Ring, but I could never find it. Until last year. Now, don't worry about these two at the bottom. Let me talk about, come here. Last year, a game called Hollow Knight Silksong was coming out. This game, right, was the sequel to Hollow Knight. You know, Hollow Knight was the dip in the water. I gotta play this one. Hollow Knight Silksong was everything Hollow Knight was, but upgraded. So boom, very close to Elden Ring. Not quite there yet. And then I played another game. It's called Lies of P. A lot of people said it was the closest thing to Elden Ring, the closest thing to like how FromSoft gets that Souls sort of feeling. And they were right. Lies of P, every time I hear Lies of P music, I get emotional. Because I can't play that game again. Lies of P touched what Elden Ring made me feel. And the way Lies of P did that was so surprising to me. And it was wonderful. And then, a week after I played Lies of P, guess what came out? Ghost of Tsushima's sequel, Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei was everything Ghost of Tsushima was, but elevated. Some may argue different, fuck you. And Ghost of Yotei also touched that feeling that Elden Ring gave me. And this all happened in like a 2-month span of last year. Last year from like, when was that? September to like, what? I don't remember when Yotei came out. It came out a time, you know what I'm saying? And the thing, like it made me realize like how much I appreciate these games, right? And then I had never done this before, but I was looking forward to like announcements. That's not me. I don't really keep up with gaming like that. I'd never done that before. Like if shit drop, right? But that's where we go to these bottom two. I don't think I've ever been more excited for something in my life than Wolverine, especially after that new trailer, boy. Whew! And God of War, Lao Fei. Wolverine is, if you remember Spider-Man from earlier, Wolverine is Sony's fourth-ish attempt at making a superhero game. And I watched the trailer. Watching that trailer was like, it was like watching your wife give birth to your second child. Like, oh my god, this is real. It's happening. Like watching the Wolverine trailer and then God of War Lao Fei came out. And that was like watching yourself get another wife. And then she have her firstborn. So now you're watching your firstborn be born again. And all of this, right, has sort of shaped and crafted me into the person I am. And the more solo player games that come out, that'll be good. I think all of them will be just rushing to try and touch Elden Ring. And if this hasn't made you want to play God of War, Spider-Man, Elden Ring, Lies of P, go play Lies of P, boy. Woo! Lies of P 2, boy. And all these other things I'm talking about. I mean, you'll just have to wait for your chance. If I had to give you a suggestion on how to be shaped like me, I'd say eat more. If I had to give you a suggestion on how to game like me, I'd say play God of War, then play God of War Ragnarok, then play Hollow Knight, then play Silksong, right? Then play Dark Souls, then play Dark Souls 3, then play Bloodborne, then play Sekiro, then play Lies of P, then play Elden Ring. And then after all that, you can play Dispatch, because boy, Dispatch was good as fuck. Boy, I forgot about Dispatch.